In this video, I'm going to walk you through Lesson 13 of Unit 7.1 from OpenSciEd. All right, we're almost done with this unit, but we have a few questions about odor that we realized we did not answer, and we looked on our driving question board at the end of Lesson 12. So we navigate in by thinking about those questions we have about odor, and we set up our progress tracker to really kind of cover any questions we have about odor. Here's the slide to support you. The two big questions that most of the questions will fall under are: why do different substances have different odors, and how do we detect odors? So they're going to write this down in their progress tracker to give them purpose for doing the investigation and the reading. So then we're going to do the odor lab, but first we're going to learn how to smell odor safely. This is pretty important and always a joke in science classrooms. We even joke about it in teacher trainings. But how do you smell substances safely? And you're going to waft the smell in front of your nose. Scoop that air. You don't put your nose right in the jar. You could pass out if it was strong. So teach your students how to waft the air properly. Then you're going to investigate the scents of different substances. Now here is the slide to support you. There is a handout you will pass out. It's called the Odor Lab. They're going to be smelling 4 different substances. You can add another essential oil if you want. And then they're going to put what they notice about what does it smell like, what does it remind you of, and what do you notice about the molecular model. So you're going to give them a handout. It's going to be the molecular models of different substances handout, and they're going to compare the molecular models of those different substances to see what they notice. Here is a copy of the molecular model handout for the different substances. So you can see vinegar, vanilla, lemon, and there's some more down here as well. So they're just looking at the molecular models. We've been looking at this along the way, and they're comparing them. Here is the student handout. I already showed this to you in the slide that students will fill out. It's a data table. And then there is a teacher reference setting up the odor lab guide. Let's go ahead and look at this. So basically you're going to use spice jars, and they should come in a kit if you ordered it. If not, any spice jars will do. You're going to put a cotton ball in the spice jar, and then put, of course, some essential oil on the cotton ball, and then put that little top back on, and then the cap. And so they're basically going to unscrew the cap and take a smell. I will say it's you need to be very careful about allergies. Make sure you've asked if anyone has allergies to any of the oils that you're using. Okay, so students are going to fill out their data table. They're going to smell those odors, and then they're going to gather some information to finish answering their questions on their progress tracker. And so here's the slide to support you. It says to write this on the top of your handout. Not necessary if you provide it in an LMS, but it is talking about marking up the text, so that might be worth giving each student a copy of the handout. It's how do we detect odors? So this is going to be answered in the article, and then they're also going to be filling out their progress tracker, trying to answer the questions that we wrote at the beginning of the lesson. Now, I must say all of this is to hit a life science standard. If you go to the beginning of the unit overview materials doc, you can see that all of the standards in this unit are physical science, all about chemical reactions, atomic structures, those types of things, except for this highlighted standard. This is going to be a standard that is split up among many different OpenSciEd units when it connects to the phenomenon. And so this one, we're connecting to odor. So we're going to be talking about how odor is detected by sensory receptors and interpreted by the brain. In 6.1, we do this with light. In 8.1, we do it with touch. And so it's split up with the different senses among different units. So this lesson in particular hits this standard. And all we're doing is obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information. So this lesson hits this performance expectation. All we have left to do to meet this performance expectation is write a full explanation. They use their progress trackers to write and communicate information in a logical way. And the question that they're answering is, what is an odor and how do we detect it? Okay, that's about it. There is a sample response to go through if you want to see how best to evaluate if your students met that performance expectation using the article and the lab that they engaged in. But that's about it. Pretty easy lesson, and let's talk about materials prep in the next video.